मदीने के दिन रात अल्लाहू अकबर, मदीने की क्या बात अल्लाहू अकबर। मदीने के दिन रात अल्लाहू अकबर, मदीने की क्या बात अल्लाहू अकबर। मदीने के दिन रात अल्लाहू अकबर, मदीने की क्या बात अल्लाहू अकबर। मदीने के दिन रात अल्लाहू अकबर, मदीने की क्या बात अल्लाहू अकबर। अल्लाहू अकबर, अल्लाहू अकबर, अल्लाहू अकबर, अल्लाहू अकबर, अल्लाहू अकबर। अज़ानों के लम्हात अल्लाहू अकबर।
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Al-Hikmat TV. My name is Naima Khan Gani, bringing you Ramadan greetings on behalf of Al-Hikmat TV. Ramadan Mubarak. Today in our studio we have two very special guests as we prepare a special program for you on Ramadan. We have Hafiz Imran and Hafiz Mohammed. Welcome to the program, brothers.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much.
Wa alaikum assalam. It's a pleasure to have both of you with us today because we know that you're very popular icons at Darul Uloom as you recite for the Salatul Taraweeh each month of Ramadan every year. So it really is a pleasure and an honor to us to have you here with us. What does Ramadan mean to both of you? Hafiz Mohammed?
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, thank you so much for inviting us. It's most welcome to be here at the Al-Hikmat TV for the Ramadan special program. To be in Ramadan actually is a very special moment, and it's a special month for me. And for every year, I wait for this month to come so I can get involved into my really good deen knowledge, and I actually really enjoyed a lot in this month. As you know that the month of this month is the month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the special thing for me actually and for Hafiz Imran is that we lead the Salatul Taraweeh at the night, and for that we have a special preparation that we do. So basically this month I look for that and to develop my iman and my taqwa in this month.
How about you, Hafiz Imran? What does this month bring to you? Any special meaning at all?
This month, this month gives me a chance to try to increase my iman and have more faith in Allah. This is a month where, this is Allah's month. Inside the month there's Laylatul Qadr. There's so many opportunities in this month to get blessings. So for me, this is a time so I can try to rectify myself and correct my mistakes and probably try to break old habits and make new habits so I can continue throughout the year. It's like a New Year's for me.
Right, and that's good because that's a good lesson for us to break the old and try to bring in some new positive habits. So that's beautiful. Now tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Who are you actually? Because our viewers, they hear your voices during the month of Ramadan, but they don't know who you really are as a person. So why don't you, Hafiz Mohammed, tell us a little bit about your background?
Actually, when I came here, I was only 13 years old.
Wow.
When I came, actually this is my first city, Hollywood, where I came and I stayed over here. And when I was only 13 years old, I didn't know anybody over here. And when I came, I went to middle school, and I was in Alston Middle School all the way in the, East Hollywood. And from there, I pursued my middle school education, and then after that I moved to MacArthur High School, where I completed my 4-year high school diploma. And during that time I was continuing my deen knowledge. I was teaching in Darul Uloom Islamic Institute. I was teaching students over there several different courses, several different subjects. One of the main subjects was Quranic studies, which I used to teach with tajweed, proper pronunciation of the Quran, and I try to teach several students mathematics and some physical sciences courses.
Oh good, you incorporate academics as well as Islamic education.
And
beautiful.
That was actually, I used to do volunteer didn't charge anybody for that, and I
Mashallah.
just used to do volunteer, and I had couple of students at that time, and later on people actually called me to teach mathematics at home also. So I used to teach in Broward College. Some of the homes I went, and then I teach some kids at home, and then I also teach physics also. And then after all of this, I moved to FIU. I finished my studies in high school, got my diploma, alhamdulillah. And then after that, I got several institutions over here. One of them was FIU, UF, FAU, USF. One is in Melbourne, Florida, Institute of Technology, FIT. But I use FIU.
You chose FIU.
Yes, I
good.
choose,
I'm an alumni of FIU, so that's good to
yes,
hear.
actually, I choose FIU. I really want to go to UF, but then I just didn't go UF because there are several reasons. My parents were here alone during that time, and still they are alone. So I didn't feel them at that time to leave them,
right.
you know, because basically they came here for me. You know, they told me, no, beta, go, you can go. And I was like, no, you know, I don't want to leave them.
Your turn to give back
at this
to
time,
them.
I don't want to leave them. Meaning at that time, I don't want to leave them to South Florida, and I just go to UF and study. And the other reason was that, you know, I was teaching in the Uloom. I was leading prayers at the Uloom, and I was leading Taraweeh prayers also in the Uloom. So actually, Brother Azad Ali from the Uloom, he actually told me, Hafiz, you know, if you go, what's gonna happen? So I just then I thought about, I'm like, if I go to FIU, I'm gonna get the same education if I go to UF. Yes, UF has some more name, but still, if I go to FIU, inshallah, I have the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will be, you know, better for me, inshallah. So I moved to FIU with my friends, because my friends also went to FIU because they used to live over here. So and my friends, they were electrical engineering major. I was civil engineering major. So this is what I did. I went to FIU, and now alhamdulillah, last year I completed my bachelor's degree. Now I am
in engineering.
Yes,
Okay.
in the construction engineering and
Okay.
management with civil engineering. And now I'm a graduate student in the construction management department, doing construction engineering. Actually, my main focus in the graduate program is sustainable greenhouse sustainable greenhouse energy, which I am pursuing right now, and hopefully I develop my thesis in that with my professor, inshallah, and complete, you know, that thesis over here hopefully, and then try to go to PhD school. That's my one of the ambitions, inshallah. And also, you know, I want to continue my, you know, deen. I want to continue my Islamic knowledge here in the Uloom, and also I am thinking to there is a Alim online program. So I'm thinking, and the program is really good because they start the classes, all the classes are virtual, online classes, and you start like around 6 o'clock, and the classes goes until 10 o'clock.
So you can get the both of two worlds.
Exactly, and then the
Mashallah.
classes are
Yeah.
designed so well that, you know, they give the break during the salah time, so you could pray not in the Jamaat maybe, but you could pray at home and then continue the class right after that. And so inshallah, so I'm thinking, you know, to join that program and continue my deen knowledge in a more advanced way.
Inshallah. You know, we wish you all the success in your endeavors, and we are very fortunate as a community to have you here with us. You made all these sacrifices to stay, you know, in our local community rather than going off to UF. So we do admire that, and may Allah continue to bless you and guide you on the straight path.
Thank you. It's
How
my
about
pleasure.
you, Hafiz Imran? I know you are in high school, so tell us a little bit about you, because I think it's so important for our viewers to know that the people who they listen to every month reciting the Quran are real individuals, and it's good for them to get an insight in who they really are, so when they hear your voice they can put, you know, a personality behind it and show that Islam is really a balance between the academics and the religious as well. So tell us a little bit about who is Hafiz Imran.
Thank you for that. My name is Emran Salaam, 17 years old, and basically I was born in South Florida, and I've been going to Darul all my life. I learned like the basic, like Arabic and everything. I remember going to Darul every day, during the evenings after school. When I was small, I went to Sheridan Park Elementary, and my dad used to own a ice cream fast food shop. It was called Dairy King. So I remember going from Sheridan Park to Dairy King every day, and then after that, going from Dairy King to the madrasas in the evening. And surprisingly, Hafiz Mohammed, he was my teacher.
MashaAllah, fruit of your labor.
And he was a very, very, very well prepared student.
Yeah.
And,
Very
It
good.
was, throughout, Darul, all the teachers, they were there, especially Mullah Shafayat, he helped me and everything. And after I finished elementary school, as I was going to middle school, my dad decided that, let's send him to become Hafiz.
And how did you feel about that? Was that your dad's decision or something that you really wanted to pursue?
I was already
both?
working at it, It was like a combination of both. So I memorized like one juz of the Quran, the last one, and I had already completed like memorizing all the important surahs, like Yasin and...
Very good. So you started at an early age, memorizing
my dad
before you
was
went.
always,
That's beautiful, mashallah. At this point, so brothers, we're going to be taking a break and we'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا
سلامي ما زدت دمعا جرى من مقلة بدمي مولاي سلم وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير.
Welcome back to Al-Hikmat TV. We left off with our guest Hafiz Imran telling us a little bit about his background and his interest in becoming a Hafiz at the Darul Institute. Hafiz Imran, why don't you continue telling us about what influenced you to become a Hafiz?
Yeah, so basically it was a combination of my dad's strong will to make me Hafiz and me living up to my dad's expectations, I guess. And so I left, like in the middle of 6th grade, I left for Atlanta. I was 12 years old and I started the Hafiz course. It was a course where you had to read about 8 hours a day in separate intervals, like 3 in the morning.
Did you have secular education there as well?
Yes, there was secular education as well.
Very good.
So by the time I finished the course and I graduated, I went straight back to 9th grade, right where I was supposed to be.
So at what age did you become a Hafiz?
I was 14.
14, mashallah.
In 07.
And then when you came back, you went straight into high school?
Straight into high school, like any normal, person.
Was that difficult for you, the transition?
No, it was same. It's like I didn't miss anything at all.
Very good.
And now I'm a senior at Flanagan High School, and this year I'm planning to dual enroll. And inshallah, hope this year will be successful.
You'll have a busy schedule.
Yeah,
Full-time student at
Full-time
college
student.
and at high school.
College and high school, yeah.
Very good. Now, how do you plan to incorporate the month of Ramadan in your everyday life? Because you're a busy high school student, you're an enrollment, you're a senior. How do you plan to incorporate Ramadan in your everyday lifestyle?
Well, you know, outside of Ramadan, the year goes by and I manage just fine, you know, because I have a schedule for everything, you know, homework right now.
So whether it's Ramadan or not, you still follow your schedule?
Yeah, I still follow my schedule. But in Ramadan, I see myself preparing more and more for the Taraweeh that I lead every night, because it's, you know, when you go up there, you don't want to make any mistakes and everything, you know.
So you juggle homework and assignments, deadlines together with the pressure of having to recite the Quran on a daily basis.
Sometimes it's difficult, but you know, I can manage.
You manage, mashallah, very admirable. And Hafiz Mohammed, what age, did you become a Hafiz?
I became Hafiz in 1997 when I was only 9 years old.
9, mashallah. 9 versus 14, very good. And how do you plan to incorporate the month of Ramadan in your everyday life? Because you're a full-time college student.
Actually, this is a very good, very interesting question. My only answer to this question is time management. Time management is a very important key.
I like that phrase.
Time management is a very important key. Thank you so much. In the life of every person. If you're not time managed person, you are a disorganized person. And if you're a disorganized person, you're not going to have anything incorporated in your life to do this thing at one time and that thing at one time. You have to do it everything as the time goes by, and then you have to manage that time, that you have to finish one thing at one time. And so that when you ask me that how can I put the Ramadan into my schedule, that actually this is very, very hard for me, and most probably for Hafiz Imran also, because he's also Hafiz, I'm also Hafiz, and the whole year, you know, the Ramadan month is so special that the whole 11 months are different totally for us, is because we don't have to prepare for the Taraweeh. And Taraweeh in the month of Ramadan is a big part for both of us, and especially for me, because we have to prepare a lot. As he said that, you know, we don't want to make mistakes over there. And also, you know, if you do mistakes at the time of Taraweeh, it's not really, you know, it's not really that good. And then it makes you sidetracked if you're not that prepared. So, you know, during the daytime, you have to prepare a lot. And again, time management, you have to make the time out from your schedule to revise the Quran, so, you know, you are well prepared. Plus, you know, you have to do, you know, your homework, your other stuff. It's not just like selfish person that you're just gonna do only your homework and you're just gonna do only your you know, revision of the Quran. You have family also. You have to give time to your family. You have to listen to them also. So everything is organization and time management comes to an end. That you have to be a time managed person.
Very good, because you're able to incorporate everything in your everyday life. Because a lot of people seem to think, well, it's on a month of Ramadan, so I'm just going to lay back, not do anything because I'm fasting. So they think they need to adjust their lifestyles accordingly. But you're saying that you really don't do less, you actually do more in the month of Ramadan.
Of course, and that's why I said time management.
Exactly.
That time management is a very important key in the month of Ramadan.
So you're able to continue your normal routine as well as an additional
that
responsibilities that comes with being a Hafiz.
And of course, like, you know, when you are in the month of Ramadan, during other times you have some free time where you go to internet, or maybe you go and watch the TV. In the month of Ramadan, it's better that you don't watch the TV, you know. Use that time in the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or use that time into something very important, making reading of the Quran or recitation of the Quran, or preparing for the month of Ramadan, or, you know, you can memorize in the month of Ramadan. That's a very good habit in the month of Ramadan. If you start preparing for in the month of Ramadan, like for example memorization of the Quran, inshallah, if you have a good niyat, good intention, and you start memorizing, inshallah, you will be continuing with that habit. Inshallah, one day you will be the Hafiz of the Quran also.
And you continue even after Ramadan.
After Ramadan also.
Right, very good. That's a very good point, because I'm glad that you brought that up for our viewers, that, you know, they're able to put in some of their practices and develop some good habits now during the month of Ramadan. Instead of watching television, instead of listening to the radio, they can do dhikr of Allah, they can memorize Quran. And these are very practical advice and tips that we can give to our viewers and even for ourselves to put into practice. So I'm glad that you brought that up. That brings me to you, Hafiz Imran. How can you, as a high school student, incorporate Ramadan in your busy schedule?
Well, some of the things I find that you can do, everybody drives to school, or your parents drop you off. So instead of turning on your radio or something, you can, listen to some Quran in that time. Maybe a lecture or something, and it will increase your knowledge about Islam. It will make you have more awareness about Islam. And like Hafiz Mohammed said, you could start a practice, like memorizing the Quran and everything every day. If you don't know how to read the Quran, you can start to learn how to read it in the month of Ramadan. It's a perfect opportunity because you don't eat, and so you should be more awake.
You seem to have a lot more time on your hands.
You seem to have a lot more time, exactly. And so you can learn how to read the Quran, or you can memorize the Quran, and who knows, one day maybe you can be the one leading Tarawih one day.
Inshallah. So those are goals that our viewers, even our young brothers, can aspire towards achieving. And I'm sure that by listening to this conversation with both of you, they should be motivated to carry on with that. Now, maintaining your identity as a Muslim is very difficult. I know for you in college, and for you, Hafiz Imran, in high school. What advice would you give to our young people in terms of them maintaining their identity as a Muslim, especially for us to start practicing now in the month of Ramadan?
Actually, maintaining your identity as a Muslim actually is not that really hard nowadays. It's because during the time of 9/11, it was like really hard, very difficult. People used to hide, and then because all of those crazy things which happened at that time. Now, when you go to college, in my case, like when you go to college, you talk about Islam, you tell other people. You over there in FIU, we form a Jamaat, so every Zohar prayer, Asr prayer, we go and pray, with other Muslim students, and people see that, and then they admire those things, that this is really good, and then later on, people ask you, and then you could tell them this is a very good, actually, very good, time for you to tell the other students, other professors, yes, this is what we do, this is why we do, and this is the month of Ramadan, this is what we do in the month of Ramadan. And so you could actually tell other students, and that makes easy for you to get involved with the people as a Muslim student.
So they get to know who you are as a person.
Exactly.
And you're actually giving Islam silently, you're giving the dawah silently.
Exactly. And they admire, they don't, they don't say, oh, no, this is bad, or this is that, So it's, alhamdulillah, it's very well.
That's very great. And on that note, we will take a short break and be right back. back to Al-Hikmat TV. My guests today have been Hafiz Imran and Hafiz Mohammed. And we left off with Hafiz Mohammed giving us a little bit of insight on preparation for Ramadan. Hafiz Mohammed, why don't you give us a little bit of tips and ideas for our students, not only our students actually, but our viewers, of what they can do to prepare themselves for the Ramadan just a few hours away.
Assalamu alaikum. I would suggest that the Ramadan, actually, alhamdulillah, is announced, inshallah, is today. We'll be, inshallah, praying at night. Inshallah, 9:30 is the prayer time.
At the Darul Institute?
At the Darul
Yes,
Institute,
okay.
inshallah, 9:30 is the prayer time. So, I humbly request everybody to come over there, join us. This is the month of Ramadan. It's going to be the first night of the Ramadan. So, it's good that, if you come on the first night and, join the gathering, inshallah, over there, you're going to get a lot of blessings because it's the first night. Alhamdulillah. And the advice which I want to give, to the people is that the month of Ramadan is the month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And anything you do is 70 times more, according to the hadith. And so, like, for example, if I would suggest, if you cannot read Quran, you have 30 days in the month of Ramadan. Start from Alif, Ba, Ta, Sa, inshallah, by the end of the month, you will be able to read the Quran, inshallah. And for those people who don't know where to come, alhamdulillah, in Darul, we have a lot of resources. They can come to Darul and learn the Quran, inshallah, over there. And just imagine, in the hadith is mentioned, when you read one Alif, Lam, Mim, one letter, you get 10 blessings.
For one letter?
For one letter. So Alif, Lam, Mim, you are getting 13 blessings, alhamdulillah. 30 blessings, alhamdulillah. In the month of Ramadan, multiply by 30 times 70. Alhamdulillah, that you would get 210 times blessing if you compare to the other months and other days. So I would suggest, the inshallah come and if you don't know how to read the Quran, start reading the Quran, inshallah. And for the people who already know the Quran, read more Quran, inshallah. Do the recitation of the Quran. Try to finish the Quran in a month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because this is the month of the Quran also, because Quran was revealed to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this month. And I would suggest also the people who already know the Quran, do more zikr, inshallah. There are small zikr like Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. If you just take the example of Subhanallah, it's mentioned in the Quran that if you read Subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put one tree in the Jannah, in the paradise for you. So just imagine, if you just say one time Subhanallah, you have a tree already built for you over there. So how many shades you gonna get if you just recite Alhamdulillah, 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 or Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah? It's just gonna take 1 microsecond to recite Subhanallah, inshallah.
MashaAllah, the reward is just immense. And you
And
mentioned,
the reward is just
um,
unlimited.
Two very good points, and I think that's very important for our viewers, to take note of. We should set personal goals for ourselves in the month of Ramadan. At the beginning of the month, set out maybe 2 or 3 things that you would like to accomplish at the end of the month.
Exactly.
And if you can set personal goals, then you would aspire towards achieving that, even if it's reciting the Quran, or even to attempt, to begin to recite the Quran, or to memorize a portion of the Quran for the month. So I'm glad you mentioned, setting up personal goals. And that is something that we can all try to do, inshallah. You also mentioned replacing our thoughts with the dhikr of Allah, which is another, very key and very practical aspect for us to implement in our lives. Put in, subhanallah, you talked about the trees that are planted there in Jannah. I mean, we do want to have a nice shady Jannah, inshallah. So those are 2 very good points that I'm glad that you brought up for our viewers, that they can start implementing with the eve of Ramadan just around the corner. In a few hours away, the month of Ramadan will be upon us. So I'm glad that you brought that up for our viewers so they can implement, inshallah. And regardless of your age, whether you're a college student, a high school student, a parent.
Those are very easy. And there are several, they are like unlimited things which you could do. You could do tahajjud prayer, you could do don't backbite, try to read more Quran. There are so many things. Try to read more nafil salah, more prayers, inshallah. Those nafil prayers will be accountable for you at the end, inshallah, when you have the shortage of the first salah, because it's mentioned in the hadith, if you don't pray your first prayer at the time when they are prescribed to pray, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take your sunnat prayers and will your and your nafil prayer and count those into your first salah. So you won't get punished for those, alhamdulillah. So try to do more nafil, inshallah. Try to read more salam, more Quran, more at the night, try to wake up, put your alarm 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, wake up, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, weep, because that's the time when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on the first heaven and asking people that who could come and ask me and I can grant you right away, inshallah. So try to wake up, do it. This is the month of Ramadan. Whatever you could do, what you have done bad, because there is only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who knew and who knows that you did something bad. There's no, you can even hide from your husband, from your wife, from your friends, from your parents, but you cannot hide from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So go and wake up and ask for forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, Inna Allaha ghafurur rahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most forgiving and is most merciful. So try, wake up, and this is the most better time, So inshallah, try to implement those things, inshallah.
So this is definitely a blessed month for us to take advantage of, because it comes only once a year.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the point of people unfortunately in our community being Ramadan Muslims, where they only come out during the month of Ramadan.
Right.
What advice would you give to those people?
Actually, to those people, as I said before, that in the month of Ramadan, if you start preparing for the month of Ramadan from right now, come for the first night, and then keep coming, inshallah, keep coming. Try to make habit. Just try to come. And inshallah, if you start reading the Quran from right now, you do your more nafil, do your more prayers, more dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, more supplications to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, you have good, and the most important thing, innamal a'malu binniyat. You have to have a good niyat. You have to have a good intentions. If you have a good intention, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows your intention, and you will be able to continue after Ramadan also.
Inshallah. Actions are judged by intentions.
Actions judged by intentions, inshallah.
Beautiful hadith, mashallah. So that's good advice for people in our community who consider themselves to be Ramadan Muslims. Their goal should be to go beyond that myth and get,
and have to have a good niyat.
Be Muslim 24/7.
Exactly.
No matter what, not just
have a
one
good
month.
niyat, and try to do it in the month of Ramadan, and inshallah they will be able to continue.
And as you talked about intention and niyat, there are a lot of people who cannot differentiate between starving and fasting. Do you want to tell us a little bit? How about you, Hafiz Imran? Is there a difference between starving and fasting? As a high school student, to stay away from food, during the day. But what is the difference between starving and fasting?
Many people believe that when you fast, all you're doing is starving yourself until maybe like 8:30 at night, or sunset. And there's a difference between fasting and starving. Fasting is not only staying away from food and drink, it's also staying away from the bad habits that you usually do, like backbiting. You shouldn't argue, you shouldn't fight with anybody, no backbiting, slandering, you shouldn't lie, and you should desist from all the bad things that you usually do. It says in a hadith, more or less, the meaning, it's like many people, they fast the whole day, but they gain nothing out of it except hunger. Because what they do, they backbite and they lie, they do so many bad things, and that takes away all the blessings and the barakat of the fasting. And so, yeah.
So there is a big difference between starving and fasting. Would you like to elaborate on that a little bit, Hafiz Mohammed?
As Hafiz Imran said, that fasting and starving, there is actually, these are the two big differences.
Right.
We cannot compare those two things together. Starvation is just the food hunger, that you have to eat something because you are starving. But the fasting in the month of Ramadan is keeping away from every single bad thing. If you have doing haram stuff, you're doing some bad stuff, don't do it in the month of Ramadan, because you're not gonna get anything from the fast except hunger and discomfort. Which is mentioned more or less in the hadith, as he said. And also, don't slander anybody, don't backbite anybody. Maybe you have some enemies, maybe you have some, you have something in your heart for other people. In the month of Ramadan, try to pray for them, don't give them, bad talks, or don't ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do something harmful to them. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give them hidayah, give them, good understanding, and make them successful whatever they want in the life, So this is the keeping away. This is the fasting, and this is what the Ramadan month teaches us in this month.
Good. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because it's very important for our viewers to know that there is a difference between starving and fasting. And a lot of people, think that it's a fine line. It's just all about the food and drink, but it's so much more. Because when you're fasting, you fast with your body and your mind, your whole body, not just the food and the mouth ingesting,
Right.
and digestion, but it's the whole body that you're fasting with. So I really, would like to implore our viewers to make sure that they understand that there is a big difference between staying away from food and fasting in the month of Ramadan. And we will take a short break at this point, and please join us again. We'll be right back.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا
أمن تذكر جيران بذي سلام مزجت دمعا جرى من مقلة بدمي.
Welcome back to Al-Hikmat TV. My guest today for this Ramadan special has been Hafiz Imran and Hafiz Mohammed. They're going to give us a little treat today as they recite verses from Al-Quran. We will begin with Hafiz Mohammed.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. أياما معدودات، فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر، وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين، فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له، وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان، فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم، ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر، يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you, Hafiz Mohammed, for that beautiful rendition from the Quran. And now sit back and listen to the words of Allah from Hafiz Imran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان. والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان. والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار وخلق الإنسان من مارج من نار. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you, Hafiz Imran. I'm sorry. And what a better way to begin the month of Ramadan, with the beautiful words of Allah and the Quran as we prepare ourselves to embrace the month of Ramadan. Thank you, brothers, for being my guests today on Al-Hikmat TV. We hope to have you again, inshallah. It's been a pleasure having you both.
It's been a
You're
pleasure.
most welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And just to remind our viewers that these two brothers, these Hafiz, will be co-leading actually, the Salah at the Darul Uloom Institute, which is on Pines Boulevard. So remember to come out every night, beginning at 9:30 with the Salatul Isha, and you can listen to more words of Quran, more words of Allah, and this beautiful recitation by these two well-known Hafiz. Please join us again. This is Al-Hikmat TV, wishing you a spiritual and rewarding Ramadan. Ramadan greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Shahe Madina, Shahe Madina, Shahe Madina, Taiba ke wali, sare nabi tere dar ke sawali. Shahe Madina, तैबा के वाली सारे नबी तेरे दर के सवाली शाहे मदीना।